us as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one.
For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, now and ever, and unto the ages of ages. Peace be unto all.
And to thy spirit.
Bow your heads unto the Lord. Through the grace and compassions and love for mankind of thine only begotten Son, with whom thou art blessed, together with thy most holy and good and life-creating Spirit, now and ever, and unto the ages of
Hello, welcome to the Michael Sisco show. Please let me know if you can hear me. This is the first time that I've used this setup. I got a new computer, a new streaming system. But welcome. It's my first time streaming since AFPAC. Hang on, I'm just going to pin this message here. But anyways, give me some feedback. Let me know if you can hear me. It's my first time streaming on this device. I see you guys watching. Oh, sweet. Looks good. Looks like we're good. Hey, what's up, Owen? I went to Florida and I didn't say a word to you. I apologize, but I was in and out. I was in and out of the state for AFPAC. Just like every year, I just show up. I go to AFPAC and I leave. But it was fun. A lot of you watched. I deleted that stream because somebody joined the Telegram chat that was linked to the live stream, and they didn't know that it was broadcasting, and they said some things that they didn't want publicized on air. But yeah, I'm glad you're not that mad. They didn't call me a jerk. I was kind of far from. I didn't leave Orlando. I drove straight there. Went to sleep, and then I went to AFPAC, and then I left. It wasn't as crazy as last year. Last year, I drove on less than 1 hour of sleep in 24 hours. I didn't do that this time. I did not do that this time. Hey, and I know, I just have some thoughts. I guess we're going to talk about everybody's probably tired of hearing about it, but the Russia thing, we're just going to cover my take on it since I haven't had a chance to on my own channel outside of just, hang on, I'm just gonna pull up the chats on over here on Odyssey, just in case anybody chats over there. Entropy is set up, by the way. Looks like we're all good over there. But I haven't had a chance to, talk about my take on Russia. I did write an essay on it. And so we're just going to kind of read through that. That way you don't have to read it. And I might clarify a few things that I said there. Also, the other subject, which you can see in the title, it's just, recent events that have nothing to do with really me at all. Just interactions between others have just made me want to talk about this. So we will. Yeah, that was good. That was crazy. But hey, before we go any further, don't forget to, I just got more coffee and soap from VashionMonks.com. Well, I'll just link it up here real quick. Vashon. It's the best coffee you can get, and frankly, the best soap you can get from a monastery. Let's see here. I haven't streamed so long, I feel kind of awkward, to be honest. But yeah, store.vashionmonks.com. It's the only place I get my coffee from nowadays. But I like their soap a lot. Of all the different monastery soaps you can get, they are the best. So now I'm going to rip off like Jay and the other guys and just have bookshelf in the background. Of course, mine's smaller because I moved to which is part of the reason I haven't streamed in a while. I moved to a small place in Romney, West Virginia, about 30 minutes from where I was living before in Kaiser, West Virginia. A little closer to where I work now, which another reason I streamed a lot less frequently after I got a promotion. So my responsibilities have been higher. I also got a cat who may make an appearance on the show tonight because I haven't streamed really since having the cat here anyways. Hey, what's up, Jerry? Yeah, man, I'm live. So is everybody else, which is I'm competing against the big night over there on cozy.tv. So there's a lot going on over there. But yeah, the show, we're gonna bring it back at least once a week. And then maybe with the bonus episode every now and then. But yeah, I gotta get back into streaming consistently. Hey, what's up, Patrick? He says based in cat-pilled. Yeah, I adopted this. I kind of just had this cat shoved on me. Oh, Jerry has a cat in his picture. But we will be opening up for calls later. But let me do this. I do want to start. Share my screen. I want to give my quick take on the Russia situation since I just haven't had a chance to do it. Let me share my screen here. Am I sharing my screen yet? Oh, there we go. So this is the article that I wrote back on March 7th, almost over a month ago, on the situation in Russia. Well, in Ukraine. The conflict between Ukraine and Russia. And so I just wanted to read it because, I can't really recreate that on the fly in any better manner than I articulated it in this article. So I'll also link the article. Let me link it real fast in the chat. That way you can go, if you haven't read it, you can share it around for people who are confused and have the incorrect take on what is happening in the Ukraine. So this is my article on news.gab.com, which I may be publishing another article soon. I don't want to say what, but let me go ahead and read that real quick. And I might kind of break and clarify some things. So let's begin. Before the Bolshevik Revolution in 1917, Russia was a bastion for Orthodox Christian traditionalism. Orthodoxy thrived as the divine unifying force that united the various peoples of the Russian Empire. Towards the end of the empire, elites flirted with Western European ideas which had abandoned God in favor of occultism and humanism, mostly Enlightenment ideas. Eventually, the ideals of liberal democracy in the enlightened West would open the door for the bloody Bolshevik Revolution, which dethroned the czars, slaughtered faithful Orthodox clergy and monastics, and suppressed the Orthodox Church as Russia turned towards roughly 70 years of atheism under the USSR. Despite the Soviets' best efforts, Orthodox Christianity survived in the countryside and the urban catacombs. After World War II, in the heat of the Cold War, the Soviets' godlessness made them an obvious moral enemy for American and NATO forces. Following the fall of the Soviet Union in 1991, Orthodoxy reemerged as the largest cultural force in the country. Certain attitudes remain lax on certain issues, such as abortion, divorce, and premarital sex, but the country is trending in large part towards a much more traditional path aligned with the teachings of the Orthodox Christian Church. When you talk about this, or talk about Russia having a moral high ground, you're always gonna get this stupid pushback. Oh, well, Russia's not this is not this trad ortho utopia that you guys make it out to be or romanticize about. Well, yeah, obviously. They're like 30 years removed from communism, from being an atheist state. So we can recognize the trajectory that they're going towards and contrast that with ours, which is the complete opposite. So while yes, they have issues with abortion, divorce, and all of these problems that arise from living in a official atheist / secular state, 30 years is not a long time. The rising of orthodoxy and the change in their culture that has happened since then is still nothing short of a miracle. But yeah, there's plenty of work to do. So ignore the people that use that argument. It's just stupid. The opposite trend has been observed in the United States, EU, and NATO alliances. Coinciding with this trend towards progressive values, the liberal democratic forces have continued to expand eastward with the military alliance along Russia's western border, where the majority of Russia's population resides. In 1991, just before Serbia celebrated Pascha, the United States and NATO bombed Belgrade, one of Russia's key allies. Even Bill Clinton's stooge, the first president of post-Soviet Russia, Boris Yeltsin, opposed NATO expansion eastward. But the imperialistic actions of the United States and NATO, with their uncompromising disdain for traditional Christian values and military efforts to weaken Russian influence because of it, have forced a military response from Russia in Ukraine, one of the few bordering nations yet to have joined NATO. As of late, many supporters of Ukraine in the current conflict have decried Russia's actions, stating that Russia has no business invading a foreign nation. Little attention is given to the historical context between the two parties. Ukraine has played a major role in Russian history. In fact, Kievan Rus of the 9th to 13th centuries is cited by most historians as the cultural foundation of all of Russia. Kiev was the first capital city of the Russian Empire, which moved to Moscow due to Mongol invasions. The two nations are intimately tied, both historically and religiously. one could say that they're not two nations. They're the same nation. Ukraine is the canonical territory of the Russian Orthodox Church, so it is particularly disheartening for Ukraine to side with the liberal democratic order with diametrically opposed values. In addition to the historical and cultural influence of Ukraine, it happens to be geographically critical to Russia's survival strategically. Ukraine sits on the Black Sea, which is an important naval hub. Controlling the Black Sea is critical to Russian trade and influence from Russia's perspective. Crimea is one of two geopolitical corridors that are critical to its strategic position in relation to Europe, Kaliningrad being the second. Losing control of the Black Sea, as well as its historically geopolitical position in Crimea, would be to the detriment of Russia's national security interests. I would also say something I didn't mention here was how important the Ukraine territory is in regards to nuclear second strike capability, which is something that Nick Fuentes has explained pretty well over on his channel. What NATO calls, or America calls, the missile defense systems. Well, having those right along Russia's border basically destroys the equilibrium of nuclear powers, right? So one of the biggest things that prevents a nuclear attack is by having second strike capabilities against another nuclear attack. So like one country with nukes is not going to attack another country with nukes or anyone because of fear of retaliation, right? So if you have a system or a weapon system or defense system that destroys or is perceived to have the intent to be able to destroy another country's second strike capabilities, well then another nation's impulse to or deterrent is then gone. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense. I don't explain it as well as other people do. But let's continue. So while Ukraine is not currently a NATO member, considering the events of 2014, it is easy to make the case that Ukraine is nothing more than an American satellite state. And don't get it confused. NATO is America, okay? America controls NATO. In 2010, Viktor Yanukovych was duly elected as the president of Ukraine. Trouble arose when President Yanukovych rejected an offer to join the EU and accepted an offer from Russia instead. The United States responded by supporting efforts from demonstrators to remove President Yanukovych from office. That is exactly what happened, and according to phone calls leaked by Russian intelligence, America essentially hand-selected a replacement regime that would be friendly to the West. The full extent of American involvement isn't clear, but President Vladimir Putin certainly believes this to be true. I think it's pretty obvious that the American intelligence community and State Department utilized social media and fomented uproar through various techniques. For Ukrainians in the east, a Western-installed puppet regime was intolerable and led to several separatist regions. Donetsk and Luhansk broke away and formed independent republics through democratic elections, much the same way that Kosovo did in 2008, which the United States supported. Violence between the Ukrainian forces and separatists has persisted for 8 years. The Minsk Accords seem like a promising hope for peace, but disagreements over interpretation persisted on both sides. Recently, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky indicated an unwillingness or an inability to continue the peace negotiations in his parliament. Russia's military actions to support the separatist regions and to force the demilitarization of Ukraine began shortly thereafter. 7 whole years of diplomatic efforts with a hostile puppet regime appear to be a display of great restraint on Russia's part. Some would argue that they should have just done this back in 2014 when the regime change occurred. But, I mean, it would have been an easier military endeavor, but I think now they are kind of positioned in a better position to resist Russians, or I mean American and Western sanctions. So even though Ukraine's military is like twice the size they were then, they're able to survive economically and they have more independence from the international global economy and the punishments inflicted upon them. As we see, the cat is here. Yes, the cat has made an appearance, and I think she's gonna. The cat has made an appearance. So it's Eva, the famous Eva. Many supposed anti-globalist conservatives who oppose the COVID-19 restrictions and mandates have fallen for the official Ukraine narrative hook, line, and sinker. The American-backed globalist regime has been working overtime in Ukraine to push progressive values, or as they like to put it, democratic values. They spread the LGBTQ agenda, anti-family propaganda, and feminism. At one point, every government building in Ukraine had the pride flag projected on them. Is this an organic awakening to progress in Ukraine, or is this coming from an outside influence? One can infer from American policy changes under Biden, which have allowed U.S. embassies abroad to fly the pride flag on the same pole as the U.S. flag. It turns out that George Soros has been dumping money into the pro-democracy movement in Ukraine since at least 2005. The stated goals of the movement and the philanthropists were to weaken Russian influence, liberalize the economy, and ultimately join Ukraine with EU and NATO. The opposition to George Soros among conservatives domestically, coupled with the support of his foreign agenda, is really mind-boggling. It makes sense why George Soros and his allies would oppose Russia and their emerging Orthodox Christian ethic. Well, because their ethics are the opposite, pretty much. When you hear things like pro-democracy, I mean, what they really mean is pro-sodomy, pro-butt sex, pro-degeneracy. It's all of these. They just mean anti-Christian. Pro-democracy really just means anti-Christ. Because, I mean, democracy is fake. Democracy itself is a deception. The idea that people have a say in their government or how things go, we know is not real. It's always an oligarchy disguised as a government for the people, by the people, but it never has been that, ever. And it never will. So any system that pretends to do that is just a deception. It's a deceptive and dishonest system. Ultimately, the Ukrainian people, blinded by jealousy, envy, and pride, have been manipulated and taken advantage of by globalist actors with ill intent. Perceived historical wrongs and deeply embedded animosity has led them right into bed with the Luciferian regime. NATO, EU, America, and the globalist oligarchs have no care for the well-being of the Ukrainian people or even their independence, which is why they will fight till the last Ukrainian against Russia. Okay? They don't care about Ukrainians. They care about their power, their weakening of Russia, of the Russian Empire. That's all they care about. They care about stopping this force of Christianity, orthodoxy. Honestly, it's a war against orthodoxy. And so the sooner And so Orthodox Christians need to realize that these physical conflicts are really just a manifestation into our physical world of the spiritual war that's happening. And it's really like I said, the Luciferian globalist regime versus a force for good, a force that is being driven by the truth. They want Ukraine to be subservient to the will of themselves and evil schemes rather than Russia and their emergence of a traditional Christian ethic. The globalists have turned Ukraine into a pawn for profit and have accelerated towards their great reset, which will subject Ukrainians to a new progressive system that runs contrary to their cultural heritage of Orthodox Christianity. They're also fighting right now to replace themselves. Because if the globalists are victorious in Ukraine and they defeat Russia and Ukraine becomes part of the globalist project, a victorious globalist project, well, Ukrainians are going to be replaced by African migrants in their own country or Indian migrants or something other than white people because Ukrainians are too white for the globalists, okay? And they don't realize this. They're like, oh, we're going to fight because we have this national pride. We're so proud to be Ukrainians. But they're voting for a people who hate them ultimately, okay? The globalists hate you. NATO hates you. The EU hates you because you're white. Sorry, they don't even want to take you in as refugees because you're too white. So what do you think they're going to do when they win, when they help you achieve this great victory over Russia? What do you think greatness means for them? Well, they're going to turn you into a second-class citizen in your own homeland, which is what they do to us here. So why would it be any different there? Right? Do you think that nationalism for Ukrainians being acceptable, but nationalism in the United States being evil? Do you think that that's a permanent thing, or do you think that's a temporary concession for their own ends? Like, Cat always tries to steal the show when I'm recording. What do you record? You have a show, bro? The Orthodox Church suffered severe persecution during the 70 years it existed under the USSR's atheistic regime. Since the fall of the Soviet Union, the Orthodox Church has led the charge towards a cultural turnaround in Russia. It isn't the old godless communist regime anymore. The particular geography of Ukraine is important for Russia's safety and security, which seems to be the last hope for a world power to prosper while maintaining a Christian worldview. Ukraine has been used essentially as a satellite state of the Western globalist regime that seeks to destroy all competing systems of thought that do not align with their progressive ideology. Sadly, Ukraine had a choice between globo homo or friendship with a nation guided by traditional Christian values. They made the wrong choice, which has now led to the invasion of their territory by Russian forces. For Ukraine to secure peace, the short-term solution would be to accept neutrality between the Russian and NATO forces, or perhaps split into two territories. For lasting peace, they must reject the progressive utopia offered by the West, repent, and realign with their historical family. So boom, there's that. That's my piece. That is my article from news.gab.com. Still accurate, still, and there are good places to see like updates on how the conflict's going. Intel Slava is a good Telegram channel. Let's see here. I think Intel Slava is one of the best for updates on that. But, it seemed like, in my opinion, Russia's been hesitant to, I think they went too soft in the beginning because of the historical ties to Ukraine, and I think they underestimated the willingness to fight for a delusion, honestly. And I think that they're kind of regrouping right now and are making a second offensive, really. So, but just the important thing is to remember is, if you support Ukraine, as in you support their military efforts against Russia and the regime there, you're supporting homosexuality, LGBTQ propaganda for Ukrainian children. You're supporting the Great Reset. You're supporting globalism and really anti-Christian ethics. Brandon says, do a show with Jatris on Russia. Well, that will probably be happening. I thought, yeah, that was already kind of in the works, Brandon. But I didn't want to come back out of nowhere, do a stream with the guests like I did on my crypto one. I did do it. Oh, yeah, this isn't my first stream since AFPAC. Yeah, I did one with Kurt from the BSV guy. But this is my first solo stream since AFPAC, so I guess that counts. Yeah. And hey, since I have you all here right now, I'm going to make a book suggestion, which I think we should do every episode. Let me pull it up over here then I'll link it in the chat. But, we still have some time before Pascha. Maybe you might need some more Lenten reading. But this is honestly the best book outside of patristics that I've ever read. It's available on Amazon. Which we love Amazon, don't we? But everybody should read. Oh, man. The Struggle for Virtue by... Let me see if I can find a better link. This is... let's use something besides. Let's see if I can find it on a... Oh, yeah. Actually, ignore that last link. You can get it straight from Holy Trinity Publication, which is Jordanville. So don't support Amazon. Support our guys. Oh, Brandon posted it right before I did. Great minds think alike, but The Struggle for Virtue is seriously the best book that I've ever read on the spiritual life outside of church fathers and patristics. It's by the old abbot of one of the former abbots of Jordanville Monastery, Archbishop Averki. So, aestheticism in a modern secular society. Honestly, an amazing. Yeah, don't use Amazon. Kevin's right. Amazon is libro homo. True. Don't go there. Don't go there. But we're gonna start taking calls soon. Maybe let me drop the I'll drop the link right now. If I can, let's get the invite link up in the chat. So if anybody wants to call in, what's up, Nick Salvador? Long time no see. So we are gonna do. I do have one more present. I have one more presentation, but yeah, piercing the veil. You need. It's I mean, I don't know exactly when it was written. I think he was a contemporary of Father Seraphim Rose. Maybe back then, might have been around the time. But it's very poignant and seems like it would apply more now to us now than it did to them back then, which is, you know, kind of how I feel when I read Blessed Seraphim Rose a lot. But yeah, I might do an actual book review on the book. That might be in order. We might do that on a totally separate episode. But now, hey, if anybody wants to call in, you know, hit that link in the chat. I got the link in the chat. So I am accepting calls, but I am gonna also start. I have one more presentation. You know, recent event, a recent, let's say, you know, I've made mistakes on this show in the past by platforming certain people who should not have been. I'm not going to name any names, okay? But I have made the mistake of platforming, you know, trad online girls, online people with a trad presence online. And certain interactions lately, just over the years, lessons learned from observing and then interacting with these people. And, you know, I've come to certain conclusions based off of their behavior over the course of years. And so I'm just going to give some very general critique of that entire brand of the online trad female brand, including the Orthodox ones. So I'm just gonna, you know, I got one of my fancy dancy slideshows. And so we're gonna, let's actually start it from the, let's see. We're gonna start the slideshow on the online trad girl. Now, if you want a copy of this super serious PowerPoint, a super chat might get it for you, you know, super chat. I'll trade it. I'll send it to you. If you send a super chat. Oh, hey, I'll check Entropy after this. But yeah. One should know that it is just a gimmick, okay? They are not serious people. I don't want to stay on that too long because that picture is a little too more clear than I want. But they are not serious people, okay? And nor are they mouthpieces for orthodoxy, even if they are Rokor, okay? In most cases, they are just narcissists that care more about the aesthetics of orthodoxy and trad life than they do about taking repentance seriously. If they were serious about it, they wouldn't choose porn stars as godparents to their children. Note the blurred out picture on the bottom right hand of the screen. Just saying, you know, maybe their chosen godparents for their children wouldn't do videos on their YouTube page about how to do Pride Month makeup, you know? So typical behavior of the trad e-girl. If you point out anything wrong or criticize in any manner, they will gaslight you as they lecture you about how real Christians behave. Real Christians don't point that stuff out. That's not behaving like a real Christian. Even offering friendly advice, which really was the impetus of, you know, of this, will oftentimes be reason enough for scorn and insult from them, even if done privately. You know, they will. The more true your advice is, you know, they will be more inclined to insult you if you're not just like agreeing with them, saying, "Oh, that was great. I'm so glad you did this and you said this." If you're not just inflating their ego, they're just going to insult you. Okay. How to engage with e-girls? Well, one, this is for, it's probably the most important one. Don't ever date them, okay? And don't ever date their close friends. All right? Especially if you live in upstate New York. If you do, you will eventually be gaslit as an abuser. You might even end up having kids with them that you're unable to see unless you're watching them be neglected by their mother on live stream. Just remember that when dating a narcissist, which is what all trad e-girls are, everything is your fault. Additionally, when things go sideways, they will dox you. Every edgy joke you shared, every online pseudo you have, your address, your phone number, it will all be shared in a public service announcement on Instagram. All right? So don't engage these people. So the proper way to treat them, this is the last slide. It's very short and direct and to the point. If you've unfollowed them, okay, this is how you should engage online trad women, including the Rocore ones. Unfollow, unfriend, ignore them, maybe even block them. And most importantly, pray for them. Well, they need your prayers. So, yeah, that's that. Enough of that. We'll close the slide. And if anybody wants, does anyone have any questions? I'm going to drop the link one more time in the chat. You know, somebody should call in. I'm not going to say any names, but if you follow these people, you should probably just block them. They shouldn't be in your timeline. They're not mouthpieces for orthodoxy. You know, they shouldn't be taken seriously. At the very least, don't take them seriously. But we really are not doing them any favors by giving them dopamine hits, by continuing to give them attention with likes or comments or whatever. Even arguing with them on Twitter when they make really dumb takes, like about why men don't approach women anymore. On Twitter, well, you're still giving them that dopamine hit, that engagement. Really, you should just totally ignore them, block them, unfollow, and delete. Okay? So, if I haven't done that, if I haven't finished, cleansing my timeline of them, I will. Okay? I will be going through. Oh, there's a trad e-girl. Unfollow. So, yeah. Piercing the Veil says Twitter orthodoxy is probably the worst flavor of Christianity. Well, especially when the mouthpieces of it are female. They shouldn't be on the internet. They should not be online. So, but say, somebody call in, okay? We got a call-in show today. The link is in the chat. Come hang out with me live on air. If not, we're just going to maybe we'll peruse some Twitter timelines. Hey, what's up, Legend of Bread? What's up, bro? Hey, it feels good to be back on air. And it's going to be a weekly thing now. It's going to be, I'm going to be more consistent with my live streams, I promise. However, hey, what do you guys think of doing a daytime show? Like one early show during the week and then maybe on Tuesdays nighttime? If I do Tuesday evenings and then another day, I think I'll poll Telegram. I'll put out a poll on Telegram. Hey, if you don't follow me, t.me/themichaelsisco. Join the live chat that's attached to it. That's where how you can follow when I'm going live or catch my polls, or I'm trying to see when I should. But yeah, I'm thinking about doing, now that I'm all settled in my new apartment, and my schedule is much more normal now that I turned around this business, that I took over. I think it would work for me to do like a Tuesday night and then one during the day later. Yeah, Legend of Bread says that it overall should be at the same time. Well, what if I did like one evening and one day, but the other day was always the same time, and then, yeah. Well, Emmanuel's says I have a strange voice. Well, okay. Well, I think your dad has a strange voice, okay? Whatever. I'm sure your dad's a nice guy. I have a strange, maybe it is strange. I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, we're open for calls, man. We're open for calls, folks. People used to call all the time. What was that? Gabe, Mulatto Man Gabe? Where's he? I think he went out of the country. He's like on some trip somewhere. But hey, I know what we can do to pass some time. We can let's go see what we can buy on fashionmonks.com. Okay. Legend of Bread, we've been streaming for 56 minutes, bro. You're gonna have to watch the playback. Covered some of the Russia. We briefly covered trad e-girls and how to approach them and engage. But hey, we're gonna look at what you can buy on All Merciful Savior Monastery website, store.fashionmonks.com. Of course, you can get your coffee. I get Abbott's Choice. I like the French roast. Yeah. Hey, the soap. Let's see here. I just got the sampler, the male scent sampler. Let's see if I can find it. I think this is the one I got. But their soaps are cheap, dude. It's really affordable. Their coffee's cheap too, $12 for a bag. This isn't the one I got. I got the male scent sampler. Oh, here we go. Soap sampler of masculine scents. It's good. Y'all should get it. I'll link it. Let's see. Legend of Bread says, what's a trad e-girl? They are women who love the aesthetics of orthodoxy or being traditional, and they also they make their counts, they like make that their branding, and they portray themselves as mouthpieces of traditional wisdom, whether it be Protestant, Orthodox, or usually Roman Catholic or something like that. And they put their really dumb opinions out on the internet. And it's mostly like narcissistic, just look at me, I'm trad. David Markham says, are you going to the St. Maximus conference? I don't even know what that is. What is it? Does anyone have any information? Is it a Rocor conference? I might, if it's like something in the summer. in upstate New York. That would be easy for me. Nice 7-hour drive. I could do that. Might be on the table. But hey, get the soap sampler, okay? The soap sampler is what I got. Oh, hey, we got a caller. Hang on, caller. Let me get the unshare my screen here. Oh, Owen. Hey, what's up,
buddy?
man? How you doing? You're live on air. You know that, right?
Yeah, I know.
Right?
I know. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Hey, what's that? Yeah, I hear you. What's that? For those who don't know, I've known this guy since I was like 12. So
Yeah.
was it that long?
Yeah, because it was middle school, and yeah, you were in youth group, and I was in high school and youth group. Yeah.
Well, that's cool. And then we actually went to the same. We're gonna go to college together. And we went to college
Yes, we
down in Lakeland, Florida, the same year. So
Yep.
Goes way back. Hey, you got a hate symbol behind you. It's just
I know.
just letting you know.
I'll proudly display that hate symbol.
Yeah. Nick Salvador says, how are gas prices and real estate prices doing in West Virginia? Also, I think the trad form is going to be in WV this year, right? I don't know how that rumor got leaked. I certainly have not made any announcements about a trad form, but I don't know. Maybe there will be an announcement soon, like tomorrow or the day after, but I don't know. But gas prices are okay. Real estate is very cheap in West Virginia. Land is cheap, housing's cheap, even the rent is cheap. One thing that is not cheap is gas. So, yeah.
What are you paying?
If I bring in other people on?
Yeah, that's cool, man. Well, what are you paying for gas prices up there?
Gas, the last I saw here is $3.99 a gallon.
Okay, yeah, we're paying about the same down here.
Yeah. Okay. We got Piercing the Veil calling too. So, hey, welcome to the stream, Piercing the Veil.
Good evening.
Hey, you have a show, don't you?
I do have a show.
You have a show? Okay. I haven't watched it. Don't kill me. Don't be mad, but I haven't watched
your
stream.
You're breaking my heart.
Or your
Mike.
You're
breaking my heart, man.
Well, I don't want to lie to you.
I don't want to call me when he comes to Florida.
This guy,
on, man?
why
know,
why
right?
do we even tune in, right?
I know. Gosh, dude.
I know. I'm a terrible friend. Terrible friend. But
Well,
yeah, tell us about
were,
since you're. Why don't you plug your show, Piercing the Veil? Plug your show since I have you.
Sure. Why not? I'm Patrick from Piercing the Veil. I do a weekly interview style show that focuses on Christianity, politics, current events, these sorts of things. I try to get authors, content creators, and basically anybody who's trying to put their work out there that would fit well into sort of our corner of the internet, I suppose you'd say. Try to get different opinions as long as they're, not too far out there. Recently I had Shane Swenson, the iconographer, on, which will be coming out this week. And
good guy, good dude.
Absolutely. It was a fantastic conversation. Went for about 3 hours. It was probably my longest show. So hopefully I can get you on, Mike.
Wow. Hey, sure.
Yeah,
I might have something to promote soon that somebody may or may not have implicated in the chat, but I haven't made an announcement. He says a little birdie told them. I don't know who's leaking stuff, but
well, right on.
Anyways,
if it's a book or something, I'd love to read it and then have you on to talk about it.
Yeah, sure. I've tried to start writing books and I just never finish, but someday.
It's challenging, but you've been creating content live streams and these sorts of things for a little while, and I know you're an Orthodox Christian, so I'd love to have you on to talk about your conversion, a little bit of background of yourself, and I know you ran for office in West Virginia, I believe.
Yeah, I dropped out. It's just it wasn't working. The timing wasn't right. But I planted my flag a little bit, and I think
Man, you put yourself out there.
work.
That's more than a lot of people do. So, baby steps.
Yeah, I'm running for this next time. We're running for Emperor. So
Emperor Sisco.
Sounds good.
Just kidding. But hey, we got work to cut out for us. This gentleman Owen up here. We gotta convert him to Orthodoxy. I think you're still a Protestant, isn't that right, Mr. Owen?
That is correct. I am still Protestant.
Man. Someday we'll keep praying for you. Actually, you know what? I'll write it down in my little commemoration book for personal prayers.
Yeah, so I hopped in here. I didn't want to interrupt the conversation because by the time I got StreamYard working, you had Owen in the chat. But I did want to come on and ask you about that book that you had just promoted, that you had sent the link for a little bit, talking about asceticism in sort of the modern world. And ask you, what about that book did you feel like really spoke to you at this time? Because I think that virtue and asceticism and trying to live a proper Orthodox Christian life, especially in America in the year of our Lord 2022, is very challenging, especially for people who are coming to Orthodoxy, going through their catechumenate, trying to really allow the church to take you out of a bad place and change you the way it's designed to. But we live in a world that's everywhere you turn, there's temptations and there's people who don't understand what you're trying to do. They don't understand the search for God, the search for truth. It's the crabs in a bucket analogy. You sort of get yourself going in a good direction and they pull you back in, so I wonder if you could speak to a little bit of that.
Yeah, well, I mean, the book is actually written for us, not for monastics. So it is written to us in that exact context. And I think it also helps with perspective of how to engage the world, and how we should view it's even in a sense, it's addressing your worldview and how your worldview should be aligned for you to properly, because if you don't have the proper worldview, even politically, so to speak, the book really does address this. You can't take on the task. You just can't. If your worldview isn't aligned properly, you won't have the mindset to even do it. So if you, I think the biggest thing that stood out in my mind, well, I'm a very political person, so my takeaways may be different than they really even should be, but that our goal should be, on a societal level, should be freedom from evil, not freedom for evil. And that a lot of our problems in our society stem from this like very Americanos mythos that like freedom absolutism, which for most people, like in our political context, is, hey, we should have this absolute freedom so that, but not just for like my thing over here, but for everyone. And what that allows is for evil to take root. And when you give evil the same freedom that you have for good, truth, and justice, right? Then, well, evil doesn't like play fair. Evil uses it to leverage its own power. And then all of a sudden you have evil entrenched in your society. And then you don't have the freedoms anymore. It flips, it inverses, right? And so you can't ever give an inch for in a healthy Christian society. You cannot give evil freedom. You can't. You just can't give it the same freedom that you give to be righteous and Christian and moral. And then that's my biggest takeaway, at least on a kind of on a where my head always goes. Other than of course, it's also full with how to live a pious life in context. But just the part that kind of got my brain spinning, um, like worldview wise, was that, and really how to. These are things I already knew, but it really helped with articulating those thoughts and kind of implementing that into my political framework, and even being a little more open about when you have the ability to articulate a position better, you have less anxiety about putting it forward and being a little upfront and honest about it. So
Absolutely.
I think that's been nice. So
Well, excellent.
Faye says join
Good stuff.
Orthodoxy, Owen. We'll take you. Just make sure you don't join a church like Faye is in, okay?
Okay.
JK, just kidding. I'm joking. Joking to my
Sure.
Greek friends. I don't know what jurisdiction piercing the veil is over here.
I am Rokor.
Based. Okay. All outside of Owen. Never forget. All outside of Rokor is darkness. Okay.
Yeah, I was actually super fortunate. There were two Rokor churches in my area, and I went to the one that was like primarily Russian. My first liturgy was in Church Slavonic. I had no idea what was going on, but one of the deacons at the end sat down and spoke with me for a decent amount of time and suggested that I go to the sister parish, which was kind of equidistant the other direction, and all the liturgies we have there are in English, and it's become kind of my second home, I suppose you'd say. So I feel very fortunate.
Yeah. My parish is Rokor. Everything's in English. I think we do the Lord's Prayer once in Slavonic, and then we do it in English after that. But the rest of the liturgy is in English, and I think that's kind of the direction that Rokor is going.
Yeah, sometimes
Daniel
we have
Lee
one of the
says join
deacons do.
OTA.
One of the deacons does the gospel in Church Slavonic. I think if it's a short reading. Sometimes when they're longer readings, we only do it in English.
Yeah. But no, I mean, I was originally Antiochian. I don't have anything bad to say about Antioch. I like Antioch. I switched mostly because I moved to a different part of the country, and Rokor was all that was there, and then I just didn't want to leave after I was in. But I am attracted. I've always been attracted to Rokor even before I was Rokor, because it just seems like there's a higher level of commitment to piety and tradition than I see in other parishes. So, and to the church fathers more specifically, but that's not to say it's not there in other jurisdictions. Orthodoxy is orthodoxy, so
Sure.
the Eucharist is still the real Eucharist in every Orthodox church. So,
Well, right on, man. Thank you for having me. I don't want to take too much of your time, and I guess I'll let you get back to catching up with Owen. But I did want to ask you about that book because it seemed prescient, where Lent is kind of coming to an end here in about 2 weeks, and I know I'm always looking for good information to help me through this. I'm coming from a American lifestyle, curing myself of some bad habits has been tricky. So when I hear about more modern commentary, I think that could be very useful and very something that you can easily start putting into practice, because we're not talking about something that happened in the the 300s or the 400s. If it's more close to our time, I just find it
Yeah.
easier to read.
I was also reading I was listening to Father Cosmas the other day, who I recently really just got into. He wasn't one of the typical Orthodox speakers I would listen to, or priests, but he said something that struck me. He says one mistake that a lot of converts make is we read books written for other people. Like we read books on monasticism, or written to monastics for monastics, and then oftentimes it leads to, we get confused, we don't understand how to really apply the concept of asceticism or self-denial in the context of, living in the world. But there are patristic sources, there are lives of the saints and stuff that are for married people and people in the world and people who are seeking marriage. So I think that's, but this book, obviously it's not patristics, but it is an example of something written specifically for those living in the world. So by a monastic, but for us. So.
Well, excellent. Thank you for the link.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. I can't believe I hadn't heard about the book until this year. So,
man, there are so many books. Like, I'm kind of with you with the podcaster decor, and I've just been adding to it, and there's just so many things to read.
Yeah, maybe you can interview Father Cosmas. That'd be awesome.
That would be fantastic. Yeah, I've been trying to get some clergy on. I think that would be fantastic to get folks like that. So far, it's been a lot of people who've written books, who are Orthodox, who are Christian in some context, or have written about Christianity. But getting clergy on would be fantastic.
Yeah, maybe Brandon would like Owen's thoughts on Orthodoxy.
Well, I mean, I don't really know a whole lot about it, obviously, just because it's nothing that I've really gotten into. I know I've seen what it's done in your life specifically, because I know everything that you've been through. Like I said, we've known each other since you were 12, and seeing all the stuff that you've been through, and really Orthodoxy has definitely grounded you. And I love to see who you've become since you found Orthodoxy. I mean, may not be for everybody, but you definitely found your niche in it.
Glad. There's somebody that's like seen some. You're probably one of the only long-term observers, but
yeah, you can say that.
From before I was, from my childhood, basically. But yeah. The only thing I would disagree with you is it is for everybody. It is for everybody.
It can be, absolutely.
But we're gonna be patient. We're gonna be patient with you. We're gonna be patient. I'm just playing. Well, but
no, you're not.
What would
no,
I guess? Well, yeah, I'm not. But maybe some people have some good book recommendations for you. For your background is, am I allowed to share? Like evangelical, Pentecostal.
Yep.
If anybody knows any good books that are maybe good introductions to Orthodoxy from that background.
I think that anything by Callistos Ware, I think, is probably a good start. I believe I have a copy of maybe it's called The Orthodox Way. I think that might be a title. But Callistos Ware, Kalistos Waree, and he used to be a Protestant. And I was not a Protestant, so reading the book, it definitely felt aimed that direction. I came from Roman Catholicism, but The Orthodox Church by Ware. There you go. That's the correct title.
All right, awesome. I'll definitely take a look at it.
Yeah, try and get the first edition, not the second edition. If you can find a used one, it's better. But another one who I don't necessarily get along with the author, but Orthodoxy and Heterodoxy, second edition by Father Stephen Andrew Damick is also strangely an excellent book. And it also has an entire portion that contrasts Orthodoxy to Pentecostalism. So, but it's only in the second edition, and it's really good.
This just one more here while we're sharing books. This book I've found to be extremely a fantastic read. The Law of God by Father Daniel Sisoyev. This is I believe, a newer translation and edit of an older text, a little more modernized, and it's really quite fantastic. And Father Daniel was martyred in Russia, I believe, in 2008. But this is a fantastic book, and it's really aimed at new converts and catechumen.
Okay.
And it's very readable. It's kind of long. It's like 500 pages long, but it's very digestible.
Gotcha. Awesome.
And if you want to go, this is good. This series is good too, but it's a little bit more to soak in.
That's the thing about Orthodoxy, like these huge books, like every book I buy is getting thicker. It's can stop a door with this.
But I really like the Metropolitan Hilarions Alpha Eve's books, the first and second. I didn't even get to the third, but it's like a whole series. There's like 7 volumes. The third one's on music, so I was like, how am I gonna read about music? But more, or at least at the time, I wasn't as interested. But maybe I should go back and read it because it's probably really good. So,
well, right on. I don't want to take up too much of you guys' time, so you get back to it. But thank you for having me on. And Michael, how can I get in touch with you through email?
Here I can send that to you in the private chat. Not that it's a big secret or anything. But yeah, I'd be happy to. Maybe I can bring you on sometime too as a guest.
It'd be my pleasure, man.
Yeah. I'll check your channel out. Finally, I've seen you around. I just haven't. My life's crazy, so.
Yeah, I mean, how many 2-hour podcasts can one listen to in a day? So, I don't expect everyone to listen to all of these things, but I started this Piercing the Veil project back in January, trying to sort of be another voice, another platform for some of these content creators. Who knows how the algorithm works these days, especially with the stuff that we talk about. But if I can ask some good questions and get some good conversations for some people, and maybe some of my audience has never heard some of these things, then, I feel like I'm doing something good in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, for sure. Just don't bring the trad girls onto your show. That's a mistake I made early on. Just don't do it, man. Just don't platform them, okay?
Well, I'm not sure who these people are. I'm not sure. I don't have a list of names or anything, but I did have my first female guest, Rachel Wilson, who was the author of a book called Cult Feminism. And I found the book to be very, very good, very fascinating. And I think we had a really good chat. So I certainly hope she doesn't fall into that category, because we had a good conversation.
She's borderline. Okay. She's borderline.
Yeah. Okay.
But I never knew about feminism until I read her book with no page numbers,
Are there no page numbers in it, really?
the first print that went out had no page number. It was like just a mistake from the publisher or whatever. But yeah, no, she's cool. She's cool. But no, people like Like, I just want to be clear. Dissident Mama does not fall under the trad girl online. No, it's almost like a specific personality, to be honest. Like, where it's like, they don't have anything that meaningful to say. And it's like self-indulgent, but wrapped in like self-indulgency, wrapped in like this cloak of like trad aesthetics, because it gets them attention from right-wing men, basically. Does that make any sense?
Oh, that makes perfect sense. Yeah.
Okay, that's the real way to explain it. It's like, let's get the right-wing / ortho simps to simp for me because I post pictures of myself in a veil and a bunch of icons every now and then it's like, that makes me trad. And
yeah,
yeah,
that doesn't sound like someone I'd be reaching out to. You're describing women. One of the things I've been trying to do is not get anybody who hasn't created something. So, whether it be a book or artwork or some kind of edifying content that I think is fascinating, because that has to be interesting to me. So if I see it and I'm interested by it, then I want to talk to you about it. But there's not much interest. I don't have much interest in looking at pictures of women, regardless of what they're putting out on the Instagram, because it's likes and favorites and views, man. That's what all that crap is.
Yep. Complete narcissism.
It's narcissism, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, that's pretty much it. It's just narcissism.
Yeah.
I've over the course of the last couple of months proven that I can go a long time without streaming. So
yeah, you sure have.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, I just, things got, life happened, and is what it is. It just wasn't a priority for a while. I mean, I should maintain it, because I got to get back in the habit of doing it, because it's a worthwhile endeavor, at least I think, from the content that I try and put out and create. So, but yeah, I think I don't really have much else to cover myself. Owen, what's going on down there in Florida? You got any updates for Orlando, or what? You live like near Orlando, like close to Lakeland, right?
Yeah, well, I'm basically in Lakeland. It's like halfway between Tampa and Orlando. I mean, things are great down here. I mean, we have a great governor who does things a lot better than the rest of the country. Freedom is great, not having to worry about really anything. So except for
you can do anything, and you got the freedom to do anything in Florida except boycott Israel.
Yeah.
I love DeSantis. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but hey, only thing, gas prices are high. Rent and homes have gotten very expensive down here. They're almost similar to prices up north now, which is crazy. So
Bill says Florida needs more base gun laws.
I agree, 100%. Try and bring that constitutional carry down here too.
Guns? What about guns? Huh? What about guns? West Virginia, it's total open carry, constitutional carry. You don't need a permit. You don't need anything. You can conceal carry. You can open carry. You can do whatever you want, other than just like murdering people. But
there's definitely rumors going around saying that they're doing constitutional carry here too. They're going to try and push it this year.
That'd be good.
You were mentioning about the increase in home prices, though. That is something I'm pretty curious about, especially in Florida, since it seems like so many people are trying to escape, blue hives to go down to a place that's still semi-sane, like Florida, which is a funny thing to think about when you think about like Florida man. Yeah, and absolutely. It's a strange place, but it does seem like it's getting very expensive even down in Florida.
It has. Let's put it this way. My wife and I bought the house that we're in now in August of 2020. the value of our home has gone up over $100,000 in a year and a half.
Oh.
That's wild.
Yeah. So just with all the people moving down here, and people are paying the prices because, like I said, up north, $700,000-800,000 for a home, that's normal. Come down here, you're paying $400,000 or $500,000 for the same home. Yeah, of course they're going to pay that. So,
Yeah.
but that's driving the prices up. So,
Yes.
Dude,
Do you know
I
about?
love West Virginia. I'm just saying, like, when I go to Florida, I hate the traffic. When I was down there for AFPAC, I just kept getting mad because
it's
of the
got it.
traffic.
Yeah, it's getting
And then
worse and worse.
I
Just
like
because so many people
I
moving down here.
get that the governor is like kind of based, and he's certainly better than West Virginia's governor. Ours is terrible, but the culture seems like more solidly conservative for a long time here, and the demographic trends are better. Like all the idiots are leaving. Actually, they all left. Like they went to like the big cities. I like that it's rural. That's just my thing. I like being in the mountains. Lower population.
Yeah.
Of course, internet's not that great. So that's part of the reason I didn't stream so long is because I had to get a new computer that I could hook my Ethernet to because I was using a Chromebook before, and the Wi-Fi where I moved to just wasn't gonna work. It wasn't gonna cut it. So, but it's just I don't get the Florida thing. I mean, I lived there for a few years, obviously, as you know.
Yeah. It's
But
definitely
now my taste have
it's
changed, so to speak.
Yeah, it's definitely very different culturally down here compared to anywhere else.
Yes.
It's crazy.
It is
One
pretty
could say
strange.
the
It feels
same
like a lot
about
of
West Virginia.
it's a lot of like planned communities that I've noticed. Like going through Florida, whenever I visit, it just seems like everything is like some kind of gated, planned neighborhood.
Yeah.
A lot of HOA style
Yep.
situations. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm in right now. Not gated community, but HOA style for sure. Luckily, it's a small community. Luckily, though, so I'm not like because they're in where I'm at. There's several neighborhoods that are going up where there's 2, 3, 4, 500 homes going in. Whereas here, my community is small. We have 46 homes, and we're not building any more sections into it. So,
So I know you own a home, but do you know much about the cost of rent? How that's been increasing?
Yeah, so my mom was actually renting a 2-bedroom apartment, and her rent went from $1,200 a month to almost $2,000 a month. So she ended up getting out of her apartment, and she bought like essentially a mobile home in basically a retirement community. So it better fits her, and she can lock herself into a set price since she actually purchased it. So. But yeah, rents through the roof down here. It's crazy.
Like, it's not much better where I'm at either.
Yeah.
When I was in Kaiser last year, I had a 2-bedroom townhouse, about 1,000 square feet for $650.
Wow.
Now I moved to an efficiency, which is perfect for me. I got my place to sleep. I got a bathroom. I got a kitchen. $500. $500. Just killing.
Beautiful.
Chilling.
Nice.
That's all I need. But like rent is cheap here, housing's cheap here. Maybe I shouldn't tell anyone to move here. Maybe I should just like stop encouraging.
Well, no, maybe you should be a real estate agent or something for West Virginia. It sounds like you're pretty good selling the mountain life.
Yeah.
Well, now I want to create like a right-wing village here where I am, like an ortho right-wing village. Because there's actually a lot of right-wingers here, but we got to get like an Orthodox community. I want a monastery, which might happen. I don't know. Maybe that's in the works. But a monastery here would be perfect. Definitely need a church because I drive too far. You can have 45 minutes.
I'm pretty fortunate that the church that I'm a part of has a monastery attached to it. They're trying to make it work. There's a few monastics there, and they're building up the community around the church. And it's something that I've been thinking about, and I think I've heard brainier people than I talk about it for a while now. But as things seem to deteriorate in everywhere, those types of communities are really, I think, the only way forward. We can't, this idea of going back to another time is not realistic. I think the only way forward is to bring those values, resurrect those values, and create communities that are centered around Christ, centered around orthodoxy, centered around spiritual life, and being within the distance, that you can live near the people that you're actually in the parish with the way it was intended. So you're not having to drive from all over to come to church. You could necessarily be a few minutes away from the people that you see attending liturgy, you see, having coffee afterwards. It's we're not so spread out anymore. I think that's really a big part of what's killing us in general, is just this, what is the key word? The keywords are like deracinated, deracinated individuals. But it's very real, and I've experienced it firsthand.
Yeah, it's pretty nice when you have, because like for me, the church I go to is literally right outside my neighborhood, so we can walk to church. And usually on the nicer days, of course not during the summer because it's too gross out, but nice days we'll walk to church. And our goal is to, at least my wife and I, we've kind of set a goal of we're gonna try and win as many people to Christ here in our neighborhood as we can. And it'd be great to have a community like that, and especially with the church being right there. And I know it's not orthodox, but it's still Christ.
Sorry, we'll convert your entire church. Okay, you're gonna bring your entire parish in all at the same time, which actually
that's happened
more frequently than happens a lot actually. But let's see here. What was I gonna say?
Well, I'll definitely start with the books.
Oh, Bill.
Yeah, man, for sure. But thank you guys. I want to say thanks for having me on, and I'm gonna dip out now because I've been threatening to leave for a little bit, but the conversation's great. Mike, I'll shoot you a message and see if we can't get some time squared away. Then you can come on and we can have a chat.
Yeah, sure.
Hey, nice to meet you, man.
Pleasure to meet you.
Good to meet you, Owen. Good to meet you, Mike. Hope to see more of your guys' content. I don't know, Owen, do you create? No. You got the perfect setup. You got the bookshelf and everything, man. You're one step away from a podcast.
I know. I can basically start a podcast if I wanted to, but no, I don't really do anything content-wise. So just kind of take in and go from there. So
excellent. Well, it's good to meet you. You guys have a good night. Take it easy.
Thanks. You too, man.
You too. Yeah. For those watching, wondering about West Virginia, there is an actual big Orthodox community down in Wayne, West Virginia, about 5 hours from where I am. There's a amazing monastery and then a parish right next to it called Christ the Savior, and really nice community. I kind of got settled in where I am, so I'd like to stay here in my area. It would just be nice to somehow build a Orthodox community here. But we'll have to see. Have to see what the future holds. But I really love where I am. It's just, as far as I drive an hour and 45 minutes to church. If I get married and have kids and stuff, that's not going to be that sustainable unless I can. Now Roosh V, I don't know. Do you know who Roosh is, Owen?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, he told me that I should start a mission here. He kind of shamed me. He was like, you have the organizational skills to do it. And I'm like, okay, so we'll see.
Well, sometimes you just need that little bit of a push,
There has to be other people around that would be able to, that would come. So it'll I'll do some surveying,
Yeah.
We'll see what's up there.
It's a goal to attempt to attain, and with God, nothing's impossible. So
the Pope of Swag says start a Western Rite mission, which I do actually have all of the everything I would need to do that, all the service books. I am a Western Rite respecter, but I don't know if you know, Owen. There's most Orthodox churches are the Eastern Rite, which is the liturgy of St. John Chrysostom. Really looks nothing like a Catholic service, like a Roman Catholic service, because the liturgy is developed. The liturgy has always had like the same essential components since the beginning, which is centered around the Last Supper, the Eucharist, right?
Right.
The body and blood of Christ. But they're geographically, like the aesthetics around the core of it kind of develop differently. And so in the Rome, you have like a more streamlined kind of linear, the Roman liturgy, which is the liturgy of St. Gregory the Great, which is going to be like what you saw in the Catholic Church a long time ago. The Novus Ordo doesn't really look like it, but the old Tridentine masses are like we have that in the Orthodox Church, in our Western Rite, except in English. But there's not that many of them. Most of our parishes are Eastern Rite, and which is a little longer and more circular. It's beautiful. It feels like out of this, and coming from a Protestant, I feel like a lot of people that come from like backgrounds like us don't like the Western Rite because it just reminds us too much of Roman Catholicism. So like the Eastern Rite, it's like this thing that's not Roman Catholic, and it's kind of exotic, which I don't think is a good motivation to like something. But they're both beautiful. I like Western Rite and Eastern Rite. I've been to both. I served on the altar in a Western Rite parish, and yeah, I respect them both. I go to a Russian church now, which either way, Rokor. I mean, I can if you read the books and you want to visit a place, I can help you find a decent one near you. Okay. Bill's right. Yeah, finding an Orthodox church around here is hard. You got to drive a little ways. Bill lives in my area. Just there is a Western Rite, Antiochian in Frederick, Maryland. Thurmont, yeah, Thurmont. Yeah, actually, this church here, St. Patrick's, is about an hour and 30 minutes away from me. But I don't go there. No hard fit. I just like Rokor. So I drive an extra 20 minutes to stay Rokor. But
there you go.
Yeah, but I think I'm gonna hop off here unless anybody else wants to. But yeah, thanks for calling, man.
Yeah, man.
I'll have to call you off air sometime. We'll have to catch up.
So. Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely. Well, I wanted to hop on and say hi and let you know that I'm here watching you. So at least when you are doing shows. So
yeah, hey, you should I'd say around the 17th of September, you should just plan to make a trip up to West Virginia.
Okay.
You should put that in your plans. It's about 6 months from now.
Okay.
For nothing specific until I announce like tomorrow or the day after. But
gotcha.
In fact, everyone watching should just mark September 17th on their calendar and plan to be in West Virginia on that day. You should just make travel arrangements right now.
Go now.
Go ahead and buy your flight to BWI or Dulles or even Pittsburgh. Those are the surrounding airports. They're all going to be like a 2 to 3 hour drive to get to where you need to be. But
gotcha.
Yeah, Bill's going to be there. He says he's not the leaker. He did not leak it. So I know who leaked it. It was people who were asked to speak at the event are leaking it. Probably the leakers. But it's okay. It's all good. We got a great lineup to this event that's not been announced yet.
Okay.
But it's gonna be awesome.
And
it's not an exclusive Orthodox event. So,
Okay.
but
I'll keep an eye out for it, and I've already marked it, September 17th.
absolutely. Exposing Powerful Lies says stream more, Mike. Good seeing you on, brother. Well, I'll try. I'll stream more, I promise.
I agree.
We're going to get a regular schedule going, and I'll be back on full-time streaming again. So,
Sounds good. Well, we look forward
Pope
to
of
it, man.
Swag, Michael Sisco for American God Emperor. No, we're not pagans, okay? We're not pagans. I would humbly accept an appointment as a emperor under God, okay? But I would never be a God emperor, okay? That's just not cool. Oh, Nick Salvador says he will rat the leaker for crypto and precious metals.
That's the way
You
to go
can't
right
ask
now.
the streamer for super chats. What's wrong with you? You're supposed to send me super chats, all right? Crazy people.
All right, man.
Anyway, that's all for me. Thanks for watching. Follow me on Telegram, t.me/TheMichaelSisco. I'm on Twitter at MichaelSiscoWV. Gab at Michael Sisco. And where do you want to shout out? You got any social media? You want anybody to?
Nah, just my personal stuff. I mean, if you want to look me up, Owen Kenny, I accept friend requests. So
huge. We can send him book suggestions. So
hey, there you go. I'll take book suggestions.
Yeah.
But I am I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter if you want to look for me.
Sweet. Well, that was good. I feel like it was a good show, good stream. Thanks for coming on, Owen. Thanks
Man.
for piercing the veil. It was cool to meet you, and hopefully we can do some collaborations in the future. Have a good night.
Bye, everybody.
In